The chosen ones. Pay close attention. You were not designed to blend in. You were designed to be the person no one can figure out. Just imagine this for a moment. You come into a room, and without saying anything, the mood changes for them, not you. People look at you as if they have seen something out of place. They strive to retain their calm. However, you can sense the shift. They can't explain it, but something inside them starts to respond. Their hearts beat quicker. Their thoughts get muddled. You have not done anything differently. You did not speak. You did not act strangely. Nonetheless, your presence stirs something deep within them. You disrupt the balance. They worked hard to protect. You become a part of reality that they can't control or understand. The quiet you create speaks louder than anything they attempt to say. Studies in human behavior confirm what the universe always knew. There are persons who, despite their calm, quiet, and steady demeanor, elicit significant emotional responses from others simply by being present. They don't require attention. They have no need for noise. There's something about them that pushes things. That's you. You aren't what they anticipated. You are the unexpected twist in the tale they were attempting to follow. And they're not sure what to do with it. Some people envy you. Some people are terrified. Others don't know how they feel about you. But one thing is for certain. They noticed and picked one. Thank you. If this message resonates with you, take action. Click like, subscribe. Please support this fact. Find those that need it. This isn't simply content. It is a light, and every light needs assistance to travel. You are not alone in this. You are a part of something larger. Now, let's speak about what's actually going on. Why do they keep staring? Why are they unable to quit thinking about you? What is it about you that makes them act differently? Some are amazed. Some get thrown off. Others simply don't know how to cope with you. However, none of this is random. You were not chosen by chance. The universe chose you not because you brag or attempt to be flawless, but because you carry something others can't see, but can surely feel, the type of vibe that transforms the air before you even speak. That's what makes people whisper your name. That's what bothers them when you're not even present. And let's be honest, some of them have attempted to study you. They examined your past. They observed your quiet. They attempted to break down your energy. They sought for weaknesses in your story. Instead of finding flaws, they discovered strength. And it terrified them. You were not expected to survive what you went through, but here you are, still rising, brilliant, and undisturbed in ways they can't replicate. You did not beg for the spotlight, but it was given to you because you forced others to confront the reality. Some of them formed their whole identities on faking. Then you stepped inside. Raw, honest, real. They couldn't keep faking longer. That is what this preoccupation is about. That's where the strange stares come from. You're the mirror they never asked for, but now they can't stop staring at it. Isn't it strange how those you hardly notice appear to be following your every move, wondering why they can't get rid of the concept of you? It is not due to anything you did. It's the way your presence reveals things, the way your energy brings out what they were attempting to hide. You did not talk down to them. You didn't seem proud. However, their confidence took a knock. Simply being near you. That's how you know it's not about being self-centered. This is about being in tune with something real. You are connected to something deeper, which they do not grasp. Do not take on their uncertainty. Don't reduce your energy to make others feel better. You are not here to keep folks comfortable. You are here to wake people up, whether they like it or not. That's why they keep looking for you. That is why your name remains in their thoughts. Even those who scoffed at you wish they had your serenity, power, and tranquility. Maybe you felt it too. People respond differently around you, reaching out for no apparent reason, and staring at you as if you were a puzzle they couldn't understand, that is not in your brain, that is confirmation that you have reached a new level while the rest of the world is still catching up. But don't worry about it. You are not here to complete their riddle. You are the message they were not prepared for. Continue to stroll as you do. Continue to let your energy speak for you. Allow it to interrupt. Allow it to reveal. Let it wake people awake. You do not need to explain anything. They spotted you, which says it all. Now let's dive deeper. Let's discuss why you have this effect. Why is your silence louder than their noise? Why is your name so memorable to them? Rent-free chosen ones. Are you ready to discover why you've got them so shaken? If this strikes a chord with you, leave a comment to demonstrate your commitment. And if you want to aid this message, please continue. Hit the awesome thing. Every little, no matter how small, contributes to the movement of this light. This is not simply a video. This is a reflection. This is a confirmation. This is a wake-up call. Now take a deep breath. We are only getting fired up. This is the first truth. They cannot forget you, and it's ripping them apart inside. You did not just come and depart. You did not leave a memory. You left a mark. Something people experience even when they pretend everything is all right. You did not come into their lives by chance. You hit them like a storm, unexpected and powerful. You did not say much. You did not try to take over. You were simply being yourself. That was all it took to cut through the ruse they were using. You didn't go in with a plan. You did not strive to impress. You simply showed up. Even so, it was enough to shake everything they believed to be solid. Assume someone has been building a wall around their emotions for years. Then you step inside. No fences, no games. Everything they'd fought so hard to conceal falls apart all at once. That is what you did. And that is why they are still thinking about you. You did not leave a scar on intent, but the impact was significant. They claim to have moved on. They're smiling in photos, showing off a new gang and acting like everything is okay. But even at night, people continue to look over your page. They can still sense your silence. Not because they missed your words, but because being around you made their spirit feel different. You awoke something inside them. And now that it's gone, nothing seems right. They look for someone who makes them feel the same. But it isn't functioning. They are hunting ghosts. You are not searching for attention. You are not seeking vengeance. You aren't even asking for anything. And that's what drives them insane. Your silence says more than any argument. You are not attempting to prove a point. You're simply living. That alone shakes their entire system. They assumed you would fade with time. That distance would make things simpler. The reality is, the more room you give them, the more powerful your energy impacts. That is the thing with actual energy. It does not go away. It remains. They are still attempting to forget you by diverting themselves. But nothing works. Nothing occupies the space you left. And this makes them mad. Not because you damaged them, but because you were genuine. They can't duplicate that. One research even concluded that the most memorable persons are those that force others to confront themselves. Not by arguing, but by just being different. You became the mirror, not the sort that gives people what they want to see, but the kind that reveals what they are missing. That's what motivates them. You didn't strive to bring them down. You just showed them the truth. They keep wondering, what was it about that person? But the solutions never seem right. Because truths such as yours cannot be articulated. They cannot understand your enthusiasm. It is something they felt, and they still feel it, even today. Perhaps you're asking why I constantly leave such an off? It's because you weren't attempting to be superficial. You did not fake it. Your soul spoke loudly. You paid attention. You cared even when others didn't. You didn't need others to notice you. You already knew who you were. Even individuals who have just met you once remember that moment vividly. That is not charm. That is not a trick. That is true energy. You did not want attention. You became the instant they met. Louder folks are flashier people. However, none of them felt like you. None of them departed with the same sting of truth. You did not fill the space with noise. You brought presence. You did not come in asking for applause. You entered peacefully. That shook them. That's why people keep talking about you. That is why people are puzzled. You didn't simply pass by. You shifted something. You become a moment in time. They can't move on. You attempted to downplay your power. You believed you were overly emotional or passionate. But you're just genuine. Does not go overlooked. That's why they reacted as they did. You weren't attempting to be memorable. You simply were. So don't question your impact anymore. Don't allow the stillness cause you to doubt it. Trust your instincts. They sensed you. They still do. And no matter how hard they try, they can't undo the damage. That is why they are so addicted. They were not ready for you, but the cosmos was. And now you are something they can't get away from. Regardless of how far they run, let us keep going. This is only the beginning. Dear selected ones, your affection drives us to produce meaningful material specifically for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, please show your appreciation by clicking the Super Thanks button on your YouTube screen. Your thoughtfulness means everything to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the incredible support system you are. Let's go back to the matter. They couldn't figure you out, so they decided to lie about you. When others don't understand you, they frequently attempt to twist the tale. The chosen one. Let's get genuine. Some people find it uncomfortable just being you, but you don't have to say anything. Your mere existence confuses others. Why? Because you do not obey their rules. You do not fit into the labels. They are used to it. You're not simple to describe. That makes you a problem for folks who like everything nice and simple to handle. You are not little and you are not predictable. You don't fit into their categories. You're distinct, complicated, and profound. And this worries them. You make others feel false. The structure is trembling. So, what will they do about it? They chat. They tell lies. They misrepresent your tale and propagate misinformation. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the way you act makes people feel as if they are missing something. You have a depth that they cannot equal. When they can't put a name to what you are, they term it dangerous. Consider this. Imagine people looking at a painting they don't comprehend. One individual calls it lovely. Another claims it's us. Then someone gets irritated and says it's ugly. Not because it is, but because they do not understand it. This is what people do to you. You elicit emotions they don't want to deal with. Rather than growing, they point fingers. They begin to wonder, who exactly is this person? However, they are not seeking to learn the truth. They are looking for a response that will make you appear smaller, less strong, and less real. So they create tales. They exaggerate. They make you seem like the issue. They spread misinformation that seem like warnings. Because if they can't control how you appear, they'll try to influence how others perceive you. But here is the reality. You did not go about begging attention. You walked in gently. You moved with realness. You arrived with intention. And that simple reality shattered their world more than any other noise. You could see via their act and the way you looked at them that you could see past the mask. It left them feeling vulnerable. You did not do anything to harm them. However, your very presence made them feel powerless. This is the wild part. The majority of what they say about you is unrelated to you. It matters how you make them feel about themselves. That uneasy sensation within evolved into gossip. That personal uncertainty evolved into trash talk, since it is simpler to criticize you than to examine what is wrong with them. You did not make them hate you, but you did make them see themselves plainly and they couldn't take it. You did not introduce turmoil into their lives. You brought reflections and mirrors. Do not lie. You were not the enemy. You were just the truth they did not want to face. You didn't just survive. You survived the anguish that was meant to destroy you. You weren't supposed to go this far. That is what makes them so fascinated. They were certain you would give up. They assumed you would stay stuck. They even contributed to the chaos, thinking it would break you. And sure, you did break, but not in the way they expected. You did not fall apart. You broke out. You've become free. Free of their expectations. Break free from the habits that have held you back. I don't need anyone's approval. You are now evidence that sorrow does not always destroy people. Sometimes it needs something powerful within them. Some of the individuals viewing you now were involved in the chaos. They know about the treachery. Some even helped make it happen. They were waiting for you to remain down, but you didn't. You came back stronger. And now they're puzzled and disturbed. Some are even infatuated with the fact that you are still standing. They are still watching, probing, and waiting for a sign that you are about to break apart. But you aren't giving them that. Not because you are faking, but because you have already recovered. You have already done the job. You confronted what they believed would destroy you. And it did not ruin you. It made you better. You did not go away unscathed. You came out. Change. Consider a completely destroyed structure. Everyone stands around, assuming it's finished. However, a few weeks later, a new foundation begins to emerge stronger. Fireproof. That is what you become. They assumed you'd be nothing but flames and ashes. However, you transformed into a completely other structure. They did not realize how powerful you were. They assumed suffering would make you shrink, but you utilized it to propel your progress. You allow it to tear off the phony pieces and show who you truly are. They anticipated a victim, but you turned out to be a powerhouse. You now hold a portion that others cannot understand. You move like someone who has been through hell and emerged with knowledge. That level of clarity and power, it disturbs those who have not completed the task. You aren't attempting to persuade anyone anymore. You do not require approval. You aren't your history. You are what came after. You are what? She rose from the anguish, and they cannot believe it. You are still building, still developing and producing. They expected you to develop bad habits and eventually go, but you didn't. You used the same anguish. They directed your way and transformed it into power. They remember all you went through. They recall their role in it. And now they watch you shine without saying anything, watching you become everything they attempted to prevent. And this is what keeps them up at night. Your quiet is not empty. It has power. They will never comprehend. They aren't terrified of what you say. They are terrified of what you do not say. The chosen one. You do not have to be loud to be heard. You do not need to explain yourself, prove anything, or make grandiose claims. Your silence says volumes. And the hush, it drives them insane. It doesn't matter what you publish online. It is about what you do not post. It is not your words. It's the way you gaze at them while saying nothing. Your quiet conveys more than any speech. Could you communicate by energy, vibrations, or stillness? Imagine a room packed of people clamoring for attention. Then you come in, say nothing, and the entire room moves. That's you. You don't need the spotlight. You are the light, and you are calm. It's not a weakness. It's intelligent. It is managed. It's knowing when to be silent and let others to express themselves. Your stillness amps up their noise. Your tranquility disrupts their pandemonium. They want entrance to your thoughts, but you do not give it to them. You've locked the door. You do not argue. You do not respond, and they despise it. They want your attention. However, you do not cater to their needs. Silence implies weakness, yet to you, it represents power. You know how to maintain your energy. You understand how to remain motionless while they panic. You understand how to sit in silence and express more than they could with words. That is why they talk. That's why they spread rumors. They're attempting to fill the void your silence leaves. They are guessing, making up stories, and attempting to maintain a sense of control. But deep down, they are aware that they know nothing. Your quiet isn't empty. It is full with meaning, full of stuff they aren't ready to comprehend. Every time you choose not to respond, it is a move they cannot match. Every time you disregard the noise, you demonstrate your power. Your quiet is not a break. It is part of your plan. They don't understand since they aren't created like you. You're not being silent out of fear. You're remaining silent. I'm out of strength. You've learned to observe while others squander their efforts. You've learned to see the big picture, whereas they're stuck responding to small details. They are afraid of your quiet because they are unable to understand you. They don't let them go. You were more than simply a person. You were a frequency that they have yet to recover from. You did not just meet them. You changed something within them. The chosen one. When people met you, they were struck by your personality rather than your attractiveness. It was something deeper. It was energy that cannot be faked or copied. The type that hits the soul before the brain can react. The sort that cannot be described. You did not have to work hard. You did not enter with a forceful demeanor. You simply showed up, and it was enough. You moved with ease that did not appear artificial or strained. It felt deserved. Your quietness was not empty. It was created from all you've gone through. You didn't need to impress anyone. You simply were. People were more shaken by this than by anything else. Imagine coming into a dark room and seeing one light switch on. Not too brilliant or dazzling, but mellow and steady. That was you and the light. It had a significant impact on individuals. Some didn't even realize they were detached from themselves until your energy appeared. They weren't sure what to call it, so they attempted to take it down. Some acted as if they were in love. Others attempted to tear you down. But none of this mattered. The energy has already fulfilled its purpose. You touched the part of them that they were concealing. That's why they were nervous. That's why they didn't feel right around you. It was not you. It was what your vibe showed, and they did not fall for your personality. They became confused when your presence caused them to question themselves. You were not brought into their lives to blend in. You were tasked with shifting the space to wake individuals awake. You did not go about preaching. You did not need to. Your silence said more than any voice could. It stated, I have been where you are. I have seen darkness, but I got out of it. That is what shook them. You become the polar antithesis of what they assumed was normal. How can someone be so serene but strong, so humble yet effective, so grounded yet impenetrable? They are still unable to describe you since you were not simply another individual. You represented a complete shift in energy. And once you've experienced that type of enthusiasm, everyday life doesn't seem the same. You saw who they really were and then left them alone with it. You did not breach their mask. You just stopped applauding for their performance. The chosen one. Your energy did more than simply make others feel noticed. It left them feeling vulnerable, not in a harsh manner, in a profound manner. You didn't simply compliment them. You saw them, the real them. You did not boost their ego. You saw through it. You could see the buried agony beneath their phony grin. You sensed the uncertainty in their loud voice. For a brief time, you knew the dread they hid behind faux assurance. Being near, you made them feel genuine. But this is when things got nasty. They assumed your politeness meant you were impressed. They mistook your kindness for adoration. But you weren't impressed by their performance. You were only barely conscious. You did not fall for the masquerade. You discovered the truth behind it, and that terrified them more than anything else. You did not need to remove their mask. You just stopped believing it was real, and without your help, the whole thing began to break apart. Imagine someone living in a room full of mirrors, each one reflecting an image of themselves that they want the world to see. Then you step inside. You don't applaud. You do not cheer. You take a timid step forward, and the mirrors begin to fracture. That is what occurred. You did not assault them. You just drew your light back, and they were left alone with the reality of who they are. They were not hooked to you. They were addicted to the way they felt in your company. When you went, they did not just lose you. They lost the version of themselves that existed just while you were present. You never humiliated them. You never exposed them in public. You just removed your energy and the brightness you carried with you. That is what they miss. They will say, "You changed." They'll say you become chilly. But the fact is, you just stopped feeding the phony version of them. You offered affection, but not worship. You provided reality, not illusion. And they couldn't handle it. Now they are left with the stillness you left behind. And the hush. It's more real than anything they've ever experienced. If you sense this stirring inside, drop 77 in the comments. Let the other selected ones know that the transition has begun. Stay closely, for what happens next will rock you to the core. You did not just show up in their lives. You smashed through everything they constructed on falsehoods. You did not ruin them. You unveiled something that was already broken. And now they're caught in the middle of their own disaster, blaming everything but the truth. The chosen one. Let us be clear. You weren't simply another individual passing by. You were the turning moment. You did not make a modest modification. You struck them like a tsunami. They could not stop. You didn't disrupt their calm. They'd never had peace to begin with. They had control. They had a system, a phony setup, a life designed to appear great from the outside. And just by being honest, you caused everything to come apart. You did not say anything aloud. You did not go about pointing fingers. Your enthusiasm spoke louder than words. You saw directly through their picture. You observed the flaws in their assurance, the anxiety lying behind their power, and the emptiness behind their accomplishment. You did not pass judgment on them. You just refused to play along like everything was okay. They were already suffering. You just opened the window to let the smoke escape. You revealed what they were trying to hide. Imagine someone who constructed their entire self-image like a house of cards. Every item is meticulously placed and looks excellent. But one gust of truth, simply your presence, and the whole world collapses. That is what you did. You did not cause pandemonium. You provided clarification, and it was enough. They were not prepared for someone who could see them without requiring anything from them. That's what finally broke them. You did not boost their ego. You did not follow their script. You were unconcerned with their popularity or phony charm, which made you a threat to them. Because those who rely on applause get distressed when it ends. At first, you made them apprehensive. Then they were defensive. However, they were unable to let you go since no one had ever made them feel as visible as you did. You were more than simply a part of their tale. You altered the entire narrative. They are no longer able to return to the previous situation. They tried, but it didn't seem right anymore. Nothing fits as well as it did before. Because when someone sees you for who you truly are, faking becomes more difficult, and you open up something inside them. Even if they attempt to repair everything, the flaws will remain. What bothers them today is not anything you said or did. It's the fact that you revealed them who they truly are. You were the truth. They were not prepared for this. And now, they're attempting to live with that reality while claiming it's still your fault. But you are no longer around. You have moved on. The impression you left is memorable. It is something they cannot reverse. They never truly loved you. They adored the version of themselves that came alive when you were present. You didn't just wake up with desire. You reawakened a part of them that had long been buried. And now, they miss that aspect of themselves more than they do you. The chosen one. This is something they will never confess. It was not about you as an individual. It was about how they felt being in your presence. They stated they wanted you, but what they really wanted was the pleasure they received from being near you. You did not give them anything they didn't already have. You merely reminded them of something they had forgotten. They felt energized by being near to you. It reminded them of the creativity, they had given up, the bravery. They lost the dreams they had quit seeking. You did not give them those goods. You simply appeared overconfident, and this alone reminded them of all they had previously believed in. But let go of. You were not the prize. You were the mirror before the dread. Before the settlement, they made themselves smaller in order to live. You entered their world in vivid color, when they had been living in gray. Your presence was not soft. It was brave, honest, and alive. And the contrast did not annoy them. It made them uneasy. You had them wanting more. I want better. You reawakened sensations that they believed were gone. And as you left, the brightness went with you. Suddenly, everything seemed frigid again. They claimed they loved you. They claimed they missed you. But they truly missed how they felt when you were in the room. You were a walking reminder that life is more than just surviving, that you can recover, dream again, and live with meaning even after experiencing suffering. But now that you're gone, they've returned to who they were before you arrived. And this is pulling them apart. They claim they support you. They say they wish you well. But deep down, there is a subtle envy, since every step you take tells them that they are still trapped. You kept going. You confronted your anxieties. You walked onto the walkway. They lacked the confidence to walk. And now they're watching from afar. Not because they still desire you, but because they wish they were you. They desire that confidence, tranquility, and vigor. However, they are unwilling to go to the lengths necessary to obtain it. It was never about romance. It was all about realizing you were the awakening, the moment they began to recall who they may have become. And now that moment is past. They can't stop thinking about it. You were not the one that got away. You were a reminder of the self they had let go. And now, whenever they think about you, they feel the void where that version of themselves used to exist. Your life demonstrates that their sense of superiority was never genuine. They did not lose control of you. They lost the belief that they were always above. You choose one. Here's this. Some folks needed to believe they were better than you. It brought them comfort. It helped them sleep at night. They regarded your stillness as a weakness. They perceived your difficulties as failure. They assumed your forbearance indicated you didn't understand what was going on. But you knew. You just didn't want to play their game. They clutched onto their pride as if it were true. They had to believe you were beneath them, because if they accepted you were powerful, their universe would fall apart. You did not argue. You did not boast. You simply kept showing up. And with each step, their phony feeling of control slipped. They're now seeing you climb gently and gradually, without drama or the need to prove anything. You did not develop to exact retribution. You grew because that is what you were supposed to do. You did not ascend to be noticed. You ascended because you outgrew your box. They attempted to trap you inside. And suddenly the entire system is trembling. Imagine someone creating a phony out of ego and judgment. Then picture yourself strolling by, free, grounded, and radiant. There's no need to show off. There's no need to speak. And just like that, their throne collapses. That is who you are to them. A reminder that their perceived authority was based on nothing. They made fun of you, talked behind your back. You said you would not make it, but you are now showing up, stronger, sharper, untouchable. And it wasn't because you battled for it. It is because you have been aligned. And every time you enter into the room, they sense that shift or presence, confirmation that they were mistaken. They're unable to meet your gaze anymore. They are unable to laugh as freely as they formerly did. The joke stopped being hilarious. The talk has dried up because they have seen it. You've got the item. They pretended to possess the strength, tranquility, confidence, and illumination. You maintained your composure despite their loudness. You were correct, while they were pretending. And, in the end, reality always triumphs. You didn't need to call them out. You just have to keep being yourself. And now your existence is ripping apart all they thought they knew about themselves. They know you were never below them. They just weren't prepared to stand alongside you. They will not publicly laud you, but they will study you in secret as if it were sacred. They will not follow you, but they will never stop checking on you. You became their silent passion, the chosen one. They will never acknowledge it out. However, you may influence their thinking. Your path became the one people silently followed, especially when their own life seemed empty. You were the proof they did not want to see. You were not intended to ascend. You were not intended to make it, but you did, and now they can't stop watching. They observe everything you do, not to admire, but to comprehend, to discover out how you got through something that should have broken you. They don't mention your name, but they follow your tale as a guide. When life becomes heavy, they consider how you handled it. When everything falls apart for them, they see you as proof that rebounding back is possible. They follow your footsteps to create their own route, but they will never give you credit. You did not ask to be a role model. You didn't sign up as a guide, but when you continued going after being pushed down, they took notice. They've stored your words. They adopted your thinking. They changed their entire attitude depending on what they learned from observing you all while pretending not to notice. Imagine that the same people who once branded you weak are now relying on your power to survive. Those who claimed you wouldn't make it are now following your survival tale as a silent guide. They don't want people to know, since clapping for you validates what they've attempted to deny. You were always the one. You were their silent measuring stick. While they were chatting, you were transforming, and they were feigning tranquility. You built it from the ground up. You did not compel people to notice. You've just lived. And now they are studying your life as if it were the solution. They're terrified to speak it aloud. You were not merely a passerby. You were the test. They failed. They are fully aware of this. They didn't merely lose contact with you. They squandered the opportunity to grow through you. And now they're stuck with the recollection. The chosen one. Your presence in their life was not coincidental. You did not just happen to show up. You were placed on a shift, a checkpoint, a true occasion that allowed them to advance. You did not strive to repair them. You did not attempt to force anything. You were just honest and present. That alone was the test. You had the opportunity to select something better, but rather than embracing your brilliance, they attempted to diminish it. Instead of recognizing your heart, they attempted to utilize it. They did not recognize the worth of your energy. So the chance is now gone. They believed they were going away from someone, but they were actually walking away from transformation. And now your silence isn't retaliation. It is a locked door. They are unable to open it again because they choose their ego above the truth. They scoffed at your generosity, derided your serenity, and believed you were weak. Yet all you were doing was giving them the opportunity to change. They missed it, and now you're ascending. You're whole. You are unreachable, and they're stuck, repeating how they fouled everything up. You weren't too theatrical. You were being genuine. You were the assignment, the lesson, and the moment. They treated you as an option, but you don't need vengeance. Your life right now is the solution. Your growth is the reaction. Your article expresses everything. Allow them to talk. Let them spiral, because the reality is they aren't plagued by your absence. They are plagued by the loss of the person they may have been with you. Now, while people browse through your life in quiet, trying to figure out what they let go of, you have become the tale. They'll keep reading, but never completely comprehend. They squandered their chance, and you have already moved on. If today's message speaks to your spirit, write. Enter 77 in the comment section below to proclaim your preparedness. This is your opportunity to demonstrate your strength not only to yourself, but to the world. So, my cherished chosen family, your affection drives us to produce meaningful material specifically for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, please show your appreciation by clicking the Super Thanks button on the YouTube screen. Your thoughtfulness means everything to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the incredible support system you are. We are eternally thankful for your love and encouragement. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the future video. Until then, take care and farewell.